Hello there. Welcome to PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and this is a killer 50s rock and roll concert poster from Gene Vincent, one of the genre's founding fathers. Okay, maybe with just a tad of exaggeration, but still a very important early seminal rock and roll and rockabilly figure. As a matter of fact, he's a member of both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Rockabilly Hall of Fame, based largely on a key, very early seminal hit, and I'm talking, of course, about Bebop-A-Lula. But anyway, this is Gene Vincent in Oregon, 1958. We'll scan from top to bottom, Community Hall, which I still prefer to the sponsored venues of present day. Gene Vincent and his Blue Caps, getting nice credit there to his band, who, by the way, Vincent, before he was a rock and roller, was actually in the Navy from 1952 to 1958, and so he named his band the Blue Caps as a nod toward enlisted sailors in the Navy. So I thought that was pretty cool when I found that out. So the poster was made by the Tilghman poster printing company out of Oakland, California, and they made concert posters pretty much for the Northwest down through California as far as Central California, not so much in Los Angeles because Colby poster printing company would do Southern California concert posters. There's exceptions, of course, but that's by and large. But Tilghman had this, what I call a standalone style, meaning there's not opening acts. The whole poster is given over to just the headliner. It doesn't even say plus all-star cast or anything like that, but I imagine there were local opening acts for these gigs. And it was, it was following the same format. There was pretty simple venue information up there, not a lot of details about where to buy tickets. There was some nice splashy color, a central figure of the artist, several song titles, which we always love, and then, of course, the artist's name in nice and big letters. And it was used to great effect throughout the late 50s. In fact, here's from 1957, a Little Richard, which is largely of the same color, made by Tilghman. You've got all those song titles all around Richard Penniman's head there with the simple venue information and so forth. And then I've got not just a picture, I'm going to be blogging this poster a little later, Jerry Lee Lewis with the same thing. Venue information's in red, but still it's there. It's simple. Central picture of Lewis, several song titles, and his name splashed rather large toward the bottom. So these 14 by 22 window cards made by Tilghman, I think was a really nice design, and I blogged the Bill Haley and his Comets one, and you just wonder what other ones are out there that I wonder. What other ones are out there that I haven't found yet? Is there a Gene Vincent one? Is there rather a Eddie Cochran one? And other artists like that. Buddy Holly, can you imagine, the Crickets and so forth. So we'll find out, I guess, with the passage of time. But in the meantime, we've got this Gene Vincent, and the 6 song titles are kind of fun that surround him here. I'll move in a little closer, and you've got upper left there, you've got Bebop-A-Lula, which I was surprised to find only went to number 7 on Billboard singles chart because it really helped define an era. And funny enough, it was originally the B-side of Vincent's first single, but you know how rock history is littered with B-sides that have taken off on their own. And then you've got Lotta Lovin' below that, and that was Vincent's only other top 20 hit. So there you have, the Tilghman Poster Company kind of thinking clearly about, we'll put his 2 big hits upper left there. And in fact, they did the same thing with the Jerry Lee Lewis poster I just showed you with Great Balls of Fire and Whole Lotta Shakin' Going On are both upper left. So some conscious thought, I believe, went into that. And then below Lotta Lovin', you've got You Told a Fib, which is an album track actually on Vincent's 57 album, 1957, Gene Vincent and the Blue Caps. And then going to the other side, it starts off with Blue Jean Bop on the top there, and that was a single from 1956, 2 years prior, which did nothing in America but went top 20 in the United Kingdom. So that's interesting. And then we have the funny one. The poster says, "Bye, Bicky, bye." You can see it there. Bye, Bicky. You can see it. Bye, Bicky, bye. Well, they chose to either abbreviate it or butcher it. I'm not sure which, but it should be B.I. Bicky, bye, Bobo, go, which was, I know it sounds crazy, it was a 57 single by Gene that went nowhere, so they just decided to shorten it to 3 words, Bye Bicky Bye, but again it should be B.I. Bicky Bye, Bobo Go. So I thought I just love to see what Tilghman does with these song titles. But in early rock and roll and rockabilly like this, it doesn't really diminish its value that it's stiffed on the singles chart. It's still an important part of Vincent's canon and really helps spread American rock and roll all around the world, and especially to England and everything else. And then finally, you've got Wear My Ring, which was the B-side of the top 20 hit Lotta Lovin'. Interestingly here, you've got Coquille, Oregon, for the location, and that's one of the smallest towns I've ever seen on a major league concert poster, if you will. Heavens, the population today is less than 4,000. Can you imagine what it was then? But of course, that's just as where the hall happened to be. And they pulled patrons from all over Southwest Oregon, I'm sure, such as Coos Bay, Roseburg, Myrtle Creek, and places like that. But I doubt if they pulled from, say, Eugene or Medford, Oregon, because those were big enough burgs. They probably became their own tourist stops on a tour like this. And in fact, there's other examples of Tilghman's like this, where, you know, Klamath Falls, Oregon, and there's several Oregon stops that the posters turn up from. And it's just, you know, it's fun to see them all lined up when you can do that. So, okay, then we get to Mr. Vincent's fate, which of course is sort of sad, and that is a couple of years after this, in 1960, he was touring the UK with Eddie Cochran, sort of a soulmate in the rock and roll American scene, and there was a serious auto accident in which Mr. Cochran was killed and Mr. Vincent was seriously injured. So that's really, it's one of rock's early tragedies, believe me. But Gene was able to pull himself back together with medical help and everything, and return in 1961 to England and actually enjoy success for quite a few years. In fact, so much success that he was charting singles over there when he wasn't touching the American charts anymore, and he actually just up and moved to the UK. He was enjoying such success over there. And then, unfortunately though, Gene Vincent at the age of 36 passed away from a ruptured stomach ulcer. And so he was an early rock and roll death himself, not nearly as early as Cochran, but still, if you put the two together, Gene Vincent and Eddie Cochran, they lived for a grand total of only 57 years, which is just, you know, tragically short for two people combined. So if you're a baby boomer in your 50s, put that in your pipe and smoke it. 57 years between the two of them. Finally, I've mentioned the Tilghman Press here a couple of times, and interestingly, they have one of those rare credits over the color. I don't know if you can make it out because it's a Day-Glo orange stripe, but usually it's down on the white border. But in this particular case, it's over the color, which is unusual. And if you have a poster that says T.I., I get a lot of calls about, you know, Tilghman posters, and they mispronounce it because the G and the H are silent. It might as well be Tilman, but it's Tilghman. But anyway, interestingly how it's over. And the Union bug, the printer's bug, is over the Day-Glo color here. So, early 50s, or let's say early rock and roll in the late 50s. Concert poster here from Gene Vincent and his Blue Caps. Rock on. Great one to show you. So thanks a lot for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.